Hi, welcome to my video where I'm going to yap about myself so you can determine whether or not we have similar taste in books. And at the end of the video, if you find that you like either my book taste or my personality, go ahead and click that subscribe button and like this video while you're hanging out. With that noted, hey y'all, my name is Kayla and welcome to my cozy chaotic corner of the internet. Today I am doing the what is my book taste tag? This is a recent tag. I will include the original creators in the description box down below. But with all of that noted, there are quite a few questions and I can chat like there's no tomorrow. So let's get into things. Question number 1 is, how do you rate books? Now I'm going to be totally honest with y'all. I have switched things up this year. Last year, I was doing full star, whole star ratings with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that was it. I'm like, that keeps things simple. And then I realized, no, that doesn't, because there's so much nuance when it comes to book ratings. And sure, you could just slap a 5-star on something and call it a day. But then you get into like, well, this isn't technically like a 3-star, but it's not a 4-star, so it's somewhere in the middle. This year, I actually introduced quarter stars into my rating system. So what I do is I have a whole spreadsheet where I have different categories, and each category gets a 1 to 5-star rating, and then I just let the spreadsheet average out the ratings at the end. I was pleasantly surprised that for the most part, they're all really spot on. Like the other day, I entered a book and I was in my head sitting there sifting. I'm like, it's somewhere in the mid 3s. And then after I did my spreadsheet, it was like, yeah, it was a 3.33, and I just rounded it up to a 3.5. I just round up decimals to the closest quarter star. So that is how I'm currently rating books, to give you guys a general idea of like what each star level means for me. 5-star, absolutely phenomenal, amazing. I wouldn't change a single hair on that book, or the book impacted me in such a way emotionally that I can't imagine giving it anything less than a 5-star. 4-star is, it was such a good book. Absolutely phenomenal, but is it my all-time favorite? Highly unlikely. Then we have 3 stars. 3 stars are just like middle, average books. You know, was it my absolute favorite? No. Did I think about DNFing it for a majority of the book? Probably, but I stuck through and I was like, you know what? In the end, it was a book. My 2-star, I feel like, is a lot of people's 1-star, because I am the self-proclaimed queen of DNFing things. So I really will never have a 1-star rating. Even books I absolutely hated, I gave 2 stars because I was like, well, I stuck around, right? I stuck around. I gave it a chance. Either it was a hate read, or it was a I just need to know what happens read, and then ultimately I ended up disliking it so much that I gave it 2 stars. But yeah, I don't really give books 1 stars at all, because any book that would be a 1-star was just set down and never picked up again. So yeah, that's kind of how I rate my books. Now, the next question is, how do you approach reviewing books? I personally am very much an emotional reviewer and rater. I am a very character-driven person. With that noted, like, the plot line has to make sense and the world around the character has to make sense, but ultimately I latch myself onto characters, and so if there aren't strong characters or aren't strong character development, I usually am disinterested in books. And so with that statement, I would say I'm very much an emotional reviewer, but I'm also very analytical in the sense of I can pick apart books I even absolutely love and adore. Like, I can always find something that I'm like, I didn't really like this component, whether it was the writing style or whether it was our point of view or whether it was someone used the same word repetitively way too many times. So yeah, I would say my review approach is very chaotic, very emotionally charged, and I'm gonna give you my honest opinion, whether I think you will appreciate that opinion or not. So the next question is, what is a book that made you a reader? Now, to be totally honest with y'all, I do not know, because I was such a voracious reader from the moment I could start reading up until my 20s. Like my 20s, I wasn't reading at all, and there's been a resurgence in my 30s. But yeah, for like the first, I would say probably, when did I start reading? We'll just say 5, because I feel like that's solid kindergarten age, and you know for sure you started reading in kindergarten. For like the first 15 years of my life, I was reading constantly, and if I wasn't reading, my dad was always reading to us. We would read books to each other as kids. I have 3 other siblings. So yeah, reading has always been a catalyst in my life. But with that noted, to kind of give a more succinct answer to this question, other than I've been a reader my whole life, I would say the one book series that really was a pivotal part of me as a human being, a series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. I love that book. It holds such a sweet place in my heart. I'm currently in the process of introducing the entire series to my collection, because I actually never owned a series of unfortunate events. I always checked it out from the library. So I love that I'm able to, as an adult, use my money and bring this back into my life. But yeah, this series was everything to me, and I loved it so much. And I also just love not only Lemony Snicket's words, but I think Brett Helmquist, who is the illustrator of this series, really just brought the whole vision that Lemony Snicket put on paper to life. Like, love this series so much, and I will be rereading these very, very soon. The next question is, do you have a genre niche? If you can't tell by my love and obsession with a series of unfortunate events, I definitely have a genre niche. I would definitely say dark, grim, gloomy, thriller, suspense, mystery. I'm digging myself into horror right now. That's usually the arena I stay in, but I also love branching out and reading different things. I feel like I read a really large gambit of genre books. I don't really dive into the world of fiction often, or I should say literary fiction often. I love a good fantasy book, especially when a fantasy book can be like a thriller or a mystery, really anything dark, grim, and gloomy. That's my cup of tea, no matter what genre it falls under. I feel like I already answered this question, but the question is, do you prefer character-driven or plot-driven books? And character all the way. But again, there has to be a good plot, especially, I guess, like a good example of this is thrillers. If there isn't suspense, if there aren't twists and turns, if the plot is lackluster, I'm not gonna hold on to good characters. I find that oftentimes you get a well-rounded character based on how they interact with the storyline. And if the plot isn't there, you aren't gonna see characters develop properly. And I really appreciate when you see a full swath of human emotions and character development, and you aren't going to get that without a good plot. But yeah, I'm definitely character driven, but there has to be meat and potatoes to the characters. You know, there has to be a substantial world around them for them to interact with, for me to appreciate a book, if that makes sense. Okay, so the next 2 questions I'm going to wrap into one answer. So I'm going to read the questions and then let you guys know my answer. What's a book you love so much that you don't care if others don't like? And then the next question is, what's a book you love so much that if someone doesn't like it, you know your reading taste don't align? Here's the thing, y'all. I'm the type of personality where I don't really care if other people don't love what I don't love. First and foremost, I don't really have a book that I love so much that I would be offended if someone didn't like it. And also, I love talking about I love talking in general, but I love talking with people about books that have differing opinions about books, because then you can have like an actual discussion about that thing, and you can kind of delve into, well, why didn't you like this? Well, why did I like this? And you can actually have a conversation. Whereas if you both are just like fangirling over the book, I mean, sure, it's fun to fangirl over a book, but also at the same time, I do like having conversations that might be a little bit more in depth. Like, I don't know, you get to know a person based on whether they like or dislike a book. And if you guys have differing opinions, oh my God, even better, because I love a good argument, okay? Shh, don't tell anyone. I do love kind of like digging in deeper to things, and I feel like if people disagree on a topic, it's easier to dig into things, if that makes any sense. Okay, so the next question is, what's in your trash pocket? Let's add some context to that question, shall we? What books, tropes, or themes that you know are bad, but you love them anyway? I love like a bad fanfic. Like the writing is poor, the grammar is terrible, but like a bad fanfic always seems to have the most salacious storyline and character interactions. Like, I just love a bad fanfic so much. I haven't read one in a while, but like just even cheesy Wattpads or like anything, just like it's like anyone else would pick it up and be like, oh, this is terrible. Why are you reading this crap? I'd be like, I don't know why. It's just so salacious. I can't not. The next question is, what's a strong opinion you have about a book that has been released in the past year? And I feel like I've talked about this book so much lately, but I just recently read it, so I just need to like get it off my chest. And the thing is, in my humble opinion, so overrated. And it became overrated during the best of 2025 videos that everyone put out. It wasn't overrated when it was like released. A lot of people in the horror genre and mystery thriller genre were mentioning it, but it's not like they were ranting and raving about it. It was in best of 2025 videos that everyone was being like, oh my God, y'all need to read We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. You do not need to read We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. It, to me, was so boring, and it only really got interesting, I would say, in the last 25% of the book. But everything else leading up to it was boring. The only thing that kept it interesting and engaging is in between every single chapter, there's little like snippets of articles or phone calls or text messages or discussion boards where they were talking about kind of what was happening behind the scenes of our main plot. Ugh, I couldn't stand it. I'll give you guys a quick summation about this book, but literally this couple moves into this fixer-upper house that they're gonna flip, and one night, one of the partners leaves to go do something, and the other partner is left at home. Now, the partner who's left at home is very non-confrontational, and as she's at home, a family shows up, knocks on the door. Dad is like, hey, I lived here growing up. Can I show my kids around? And they never leave. They never leave after they're invited inside. Never let people inside, people. Never let. Vampires have taught us nothing. But yeah, it was just so slow and uneventful, and we were just stuck in this house, and the house itself wasn't that interesting. I feel like it was so overrated in the sense that I was so underwhelmed by it. I don't think I would have been underwhelmed by it if it wasn't so hyped. What the fuck is going on with your car, dude? I wouldn't have been so underwhelmed by it if it wasn't so overhyped by the book community. I think if I just picked up the book and if I had read it before the best of 2025, I would just been like, oh, okay, 2024, best of 2024. Sorry, guys. Where was I going with that? Anyways, I just think it's overrated and it was really boring. The end. What do you look for in writing? What makes a book stand out to you? Is it the prose, themes, voice structure, or something else? What do you look for in writing? I don't really know. I will say I don't really like flowery lavender prose. If it gets too descriptive, I like check out. And a great example of that is I was reading Death Comes to Pemberley. It got so detailed in the descriptions of the banister that I was like, I don't care about the banister. I want to know about the dude who's died. Yeah. I don't really know. Maybe like themes. I love when a book has twists and turns and themes of suspense and gotcha moments, but in like a fun gotcha way, not in a you didn't even see this coming. I don't want you to slap me in the face with a gotcha moment and be like, you didn't even see it coming. Like, I want there to be breadcrumbs to the gotcha moment. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like read books to read books, and I'm not overly analytical about how a book is written until it gets to the point where, you know what? No. Okay. I don't know if this is a writing style or not, but I love when I am shown a world, when you get to experience the world and the character and the books and the story. I do not like when an author is just telling me what has happened, what I'm supposed to feel. Oh, I hate when an author tells me how I'm supposed to feel. That usually involves fourth wall breaks, but I'm sure you can find books where you're told how you're supposed to feel about something in books that don't have that. But yeah, oh no. I enjoy being shown the book, not being told the book. How do you decide what to read next? At my core, I'm a mood reader, not in the sense of like, ooh, this book falls in a certain genre, or this book has a certain theme, or this book, is set in the winter and it's a moody, rainy day. I am a mood reader in the fact that I'm a cover ho. Sometimes I'll just be looking at books and be like, oh, that cover is tickling my fancy. Let's pick it up and read it. Where do you get inspiration for your BookTube content? That is such a great question. I think there's definitely videos where I'm just following trends, or I take inspiration from other creators and what they have made. But I also try to make videos that are very much out of my own brain. And sometimes I feel like I make videos that are out of my own brain, and then all of a sudden someone else does the same thing. And I was like, I thought I was being original, but clearly not. But yeah, I would definitely say, like, with anything creative and artistic, we all draw inspiration from something, and whether it's taking like a little micro nugget of context from someone else's video, or even something I saw maybe on Instagram and I want to make it into more of like a long form content, I definitely say I get inspiration from other creators. But if I'm like taking inspiration so much that it's almost not replicated, but it's structured the same way as someone else, I will always give credit to the person that I found that from. Always. If you're going to be inspired by someone, and if it's almost a replica of the same structure of their video, you better be giving credit, okay? We aren't just plagiarizing over here. We are giving credit. We are showing our sources, okay? But yeah, I also am like a big vloggy type of person. I love vlog style videos. If you could make any book go viral right now, what would it be? Oh, if I can make any book go viral at this moment. I feel like this year, of all the years, there has been such a resurgence of nostalgia. Hunger Games, everyone's losing their minds over. I bet everyone's going to be doing the Twilight series in fall because it's the 20th anniversary of Twilight. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of HP within the past year in that same nostalgia arena, and we've already talked about it already, but I would love to see a series of unfortunate events have a resurgence. I would love to see everyone and their mother talking about this book, whether it's them rereading it, whether it's them reading it for the first time. Actually, I'd be so curious to see someone like in their 20s or 30s reading a series of unfortunate events for the first time, because it is a little twisted and dark. And as like a kid, I was going, oh my God, these kids just live a terrible life, but I'm like their same age. Whereas now I'm interested to see my thoughts and opinions about this book as a reread, but I would love to see someone's thoughts and opinions about this book as a first-time reader, as an adult. I think that would be so fun. So you're welcome. Please read this series and let me know what you think if you've never read it before. And the last and final question is going to be the hardest question for me. And that is, who are some booktubers with reading tastes similar to yours? I don't No. I watch a lot of creators who have very different reading tastes from myself. I don't really watch people who read the same things I do. Of all the people who I watch their videos of, I would say Haley Hughes probably has the closest taste to me, just because I've noticed that we typically rate books the same. She's in the horror, thriller, mystery arena. She is, I think, delving more into fantasy lately. But she's literally the reason I read Fourth Wing and why I'm obsessed with Fourth Wing. I had no intention of reading that series at all. I had seen enough about it. I have literally watched people break down the entire video or the entire book point by point. And she did a reading vlog and it had Fourth Wing in it and she just sold it to me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to read it. And I read it and I absolutely loved it. Even though I knew exactly what was going to happen, I still really enjoyed it. So yeah, I would say of all the BookTube creators, we have the closest taste. But I do also want to shout out my favorite BookTube creators right now anyways, so that you guys can enjoy their videos as well. We have Gavin Reads It All. He's literally my comfort booktuber, YouTuber in general. I will just like throw on his Halloween series. I will, honestly, he can just be playing in the background. I love his videos. Library Unbound, love. Oh my God, I love her. Just first off, her accent is so delicious, but also just the way she's able to speak to things. And I just love her. I love her so much. She's also like really she like says things so eloquently, but then is so sarcastic and witty. It's so charming. Love her so much. Sylvia is her name, by the way. Jordaline. Love Jordaline. And I would say her and I have the furthest taste of anyone. She reads a lot of horror, and while I am dipping my toes into horror, it is definitely something she has way more expansive knowledge in than I do. But yeah, those are some of my favorite BookTube creators. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you like my personality, if you think we have somewhat similar reading styles, or reading taste, I should say, please feel free to click that subscribe button and let me know in the comments down below who are some of your booktubers. Let me know who's like your favorite booktuber that you don't have similar tastes with, and then also let me know who's your favorite booktuber who you have very similar taste to. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.